Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Dragon's Waterfall, your channel about Knights of the Zodiac. And today we're going to talk about the other Bronze Knights. So not Seiya and his friends Long, Shaun, Magnus and Nero, but the other five, the ones who appeared at the Galaxian tournament and have never been seen again. In the fandom, these five Bronze Knights are usually referred to as the minor Bronze Knights, and that's because they play a much smaller role even in the original series. They appear in the Galaxian tournament arc, just like in the Netflix series, and then we don't see them again for a number of volumes and episodes until they come back much later on. And even when they do come back, they only make cameos here and there, but they are never central to the story. However, they don't die. I've seen videos online stating that they get killed in the Galaxian tournament, and that's not correct. In no version of the story they get killed in the tournament. This is a tournament after all, so no one dies yet. Plenty of people will die, but no one yet. Now, the five minor Bronze Knights, let's start from the leader, who's the Unicorn Knight, and his name is Jabu, or in English he's been renamed Jab. And Jabu, or Jab, is the violet, the knight with the violet armor, and is the one who's eventually defeated by Shaun. He is often considered the leader of the other Bronze Knights because he's the one with the most screen time, and is a rival of Seiya in a way because they have very similar personalities. However, Seiya is quite rebellious towards Sienna, whereas Jab is very faithful, and it's even implied that he likes her to an extent that it could be considered romantic. It's never openly stated that he feels something towards her, but you can tell that he's very loyal to her. And Jab is loyal to Sienna even before learning that she's Athena. He's loyal to Sienna because he feels she gave him a house. And in the original series, Sienna is a much nastier character when she's a kid. She's a very spoiled kid to begin with, and there is this flashback where she uses the orphan children in her house as playthings. So she asks Jab to be her horse, and she jumps on her back, and he walks on his knees and on his hands, carrying her around, even though in doing so he injures himself. This has been cut from the Netflix series, and Sienna seems to be a much more sympathetic character. So Jab himself has been toned down a little bit. He's a bit arrogant, he's a bit cocky, but he never really shows much in terms of personality. Now, in terms of fighting, Jab's special attack, it's called the Unicorn Gallop, and it's basically a flying kick. So we can see another difference with Seiya, because Seiya prefers to fight with his fists, whereas Jab prefers to fight with his kicks, with his legs. And in the original anime, he's also given another special power, which is an electric charge, which seems to be generated by the horn on his helmet. It's sometimes been referred to as a telekinesis attack, but it always appears like an electric charge. And in both the original anime and manga, Jab is the only one of the minor Bronze Knights to defeat an enemy, and he defeats Ban, the Lionet Bronze Knight, in a battle that's mostly off-screen in the manga, but it's showed a little bit in the anime. It's also completely off-screen in the Netflix series, but it's implied to have happened anyway, because at some point we see Ban walking away together with the other Bronze Knights who have been defeated. So Jab progresses to the second round of the tournament, and there he has to fight against Shaun. And no matter how hard he tries, his attacks are unable to break through Shaun's Nebula Chain defense. So eventually he is completely defeated. It's a one-way battle, really. And then in the original series, Phoenix Nero arrives and gives him the final blow and knocks him out for good, and we don't see him again for some time. Whereas in the Netflix series, the paramedics take him away shortly before Nero arrives and steals the gold clothes. So, as I said, Jab is usually considered the leader of the minor Bronze Knights, and is often seen talking to Saori or attempting to do things, but he never manages to do much and is often defeated quite quickly whenever he tries to fight. It's only in the Seiya Omega sequel, which takes place about 16 years after the original story, that he has become something of a living legend and is a lot stronger, and he eventually becomes the mentor of one of the new characters. But this takes place, as I said, in a spin-off series set in the future, so it won't have a relevance straight away in the current series. Now next, the second minor Bronze Knight is Geki. Geki is the Bear Knight, and he's the one who fights against Seiya as soon as Seiya arrives in the Galaxian tournament. Geki was trained in Canada, and his training was mostly physical because he had to strengthen his arms to the point of being able to strangle a bear with his bare hands. And we can see in a flashback from the original series that he actually became very skilled at this and was capable of strangling bears one after the other without breaking much of a sweat. However, because he's a very physical knight, he doesn't seem to be particularly good at using Cosmo. We never see him using Cosmo-based attacks or energy attacks. All his power is in his hands. And in the Netflix series, Seiya defeats him straight away with a fist. But in the original series, Geki is able to grab Seiya by the neck and tries to strangle him or to break his neck. But eventually Seiya concentrates as much power as possible in his own hands, and by gripping Geki's arms, Seiya is able to shatter them, to shatter the armor on Geki's arms. So Geki's most powerful weapons, his arms, become useless, and eventually Seiya easily defeats him with a series of kicks. It's so quick when Seiya defeats Geki, then he doesn't even realize he's lost, and it takes a replay from the main screen to show Geki being hit a number of times, and then his armor falls to pieces and he's defeated. Again, we don't see him for a long time, but he comes back together with Jab later on. And from that moment onwards, he's a much more relaxed and a little bit wiser character. He is occasionally given side missions. For example, he's sent to recover Sienna's scepter from the plane that took her to the sanctuary in the original series. But he never really has to do much afterwards. And then in the Seiya Omega spin-off, he is a teacher at the Saint Academy, which is a big school that Sienna has created to teach new saints, basically. It's a little bit like the Hogwarts of the Seiya world. So, this is everything about Jab and Geki, the first two of the minor Bronze Knights. And soon, in another video, I'll be talking about the remaining three, Ban, Ichi and Nachi. But for now, let's stop it here before it gets too long and boring. Now, as usual, join the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, talk about Knights of the Zodiac with your friends, and most of all, take care of yourself. Bye bye!